Hey, what's going on, folks? This video is going to go over the installation of a trickle charge kit I put together for my Jeep JK. The reason why I want to have a trickle charger on it is because the braking system that I'm going to be using is constantly going to be drawing power from the Jeep's battery as it's being towed and applying the brakes. So I want to make sure that when I get to my destination that I have a good battery, the battery's not dead, and this trickle charger will take care of that. So let's take a look at what we'll need. All right, so here are the parts you're going to need to put together a trickle charge kit for your towed vehicle. You're going to need some electrical wiring. I went with 14 gauge. You could probably get away with using a 16 gauge wiring as well. You're going to need a circuit breaker. You can probably get away with a 15 amp, but I went with a 20 amp breaker. You're going to need two of these ring terminals here, number 8, to fit onto the terminals of your circuit breaker. You're going to need some installation hardware. This is going to be installed inside the engine bay. And then you're going to need one of these quarter ring terminal, and that's going to hook up to your battery. So the basic concept is you're going to run your wiring from your 6-pin connector on your base plate. It'll run up into your engine compartment, connect to the copper post here on your circuit breaker. Then you're going to need to run electrical wire from the silver post to your battery. It's as simple as that. So let's get started with the installation. Okay, so looking at your post here on your circuit breaker, you're going to notice the copper one says battery. Now, earlier I mentioned that the wire that's coming from your 6-pin connector will be connected up to this copper post here. And the reason for that is you have to think of it as your towing vehicle, in my case is going to be my RV, is going to be acting as the battery. It's going to be supplying the power. So you want to connect it to this copper post. And then you'll run electrical wire from the auxiliary post over to your battery to be charged. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is figure out where you're going to install your circuit breaker inside your engine compartment. So I think I'm just going to install mine about right here on that plastic panel here. There's nothing behind it, so no issues with installing it there. I think the easiest thing for me to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pull my battery. That way I have plenty of room while I'm working on this to install it. Okay, so I got the battery removed and I installed the circuit breaker. And while the battery is still out, just to make things easier, I'm going to go ahead and run my wire from the area where my 6-pin connector is going to be up to that copper post. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just run my wire back through this area here, follow this around, come over, and the lighting's kind of bad, but I'm just going to run the wiring through this brace here and drop it down to where I can take it over to my 6-pin connector. Okay, so you take your wire from your trickle charger and you're going to plug it into the S pin on your 6-pin connector. Okay, so at this point I've got my wire run down to where my 6-pin connector is going to be. So I need to go ahead and install a ring terminal. I will have to use the number 10 ring terminal to go onto the copper post of the circuit breaker. All right, now that I got my ring terminal on, I'll just install it onto the copper terminal of the circuit breaker. I used a little extra wire just in case I needed a little wiggle room in the future. All right, nice and snug. All right, so the next thing you're going to need to do is run your a wire from the silver post on the circuit breaker over to the positive post of your battery. I'm just going to cut a piece of wire to the length, and then once I get my battery installed, then I'll install the wire to the positive post of the battery. Okay, so I've got my battery reinstalled. So now I just need to run my wire from the silver post on the circuit breaker over to the positive post to the battery. All right. All right, so that's going to wrap up the installation of my homemade trickle charger that I came up with. As you can see, it's really easy to do. Just a couple of items is all you need to set it up. If you like the video, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions at all, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. Thanks.